Welcome back. In this episode, we start at the beginning. We find out how Hela became the Queen of Black, how she discovered Knull. We see Balder the Brave, Thor's half-brother, travel deep into Hell, seeking answers, only to uncover a terrifying cosmic plot. We see Hela harvest Knull, the living void, and trade the soul of Thor to Mephisto to create Thor in Hell. Watch as Hela uses Knull's darkness to build a terrifying new symbiote army. With that, let's just jump right in. We start off with a backstory as we hear, once upon a time, there were 10 great realms of myth and magic connected to the world tree. Now though, there are only 9. Midgard, the realm of mortals, was sealed away by Skald's magic, leaving it forgotten by almost everyone. But traveling between the remaining 9 realms is still very possible. Walking the long, winding path, the bridges, the golden realm of Asgard with the gloomy realm of Helm, comes Balder, son of Odin and half-brother of Thor. He is a walker who keeps one foot in both worlds, and he's down in the realm of Hell seeking a story. As he arrives, he finds Karnilla, Queen of the Norns, lounging casually on the rocks. As she says, "Balder the Brave, what calls you here across Jelbaru? The time here is long over and few think of Hell with nostalgia. Or did you make this dismal trek purely to see me?" Balder plays along and says, "Who would not walk into the valley of death to gaze upon thy beauty?" Karnilla, honeyed words from sweet lips. I recall fondly when we had time for such things. But the thread of fate is what it must be, and I am wife to Hela now. Ay, the Queen of the Norns is the Queen of Hell. Such are the times. Karnilla reminds him that their own political marriage had its perks, but now she's with Hela. If you come back to win me back, you have competition. Balder cuts right through the flirtation chatter to get to the real reason why he's here. Where is your wife, Karnilla? Karnilla responds that Hela is simply running errands. Seeing an opportunity to send Balder away, Karnilla uses her magic egg to project a vision of Thor encased in stone and fire. As she says, "If you wish to journey where poor dead Thor is now, you need only ask Balder. There is a remnant of him yet in Vidblin, the third land of the dead. Who knows? If a devoted brother were to quest there, it might yet be Thor's salvation, or the quester's end." Balder isn't buying it as he yells, "Why are you trying to get rid of me, Karnilla? Why was Hela not at Thor's wake, even to gloat? Why was Tyr not there? What secrets do you keep from me?" She responds, "If I kept them not, they would not be secrets. But if you truly wish to know Balder the Brave, then once upon a time in a castle of Hela," Karnilla begins her flashback tale back into Hela's castle as she gazes into a magical crystal egg and sees what has to come. Looking up from the feast table set with skulls of dead offerings, Karnilla realizes the sheer weight of what she is witnessing as she thinks, "Is this the future? This is the future." Hela asks, "You look like you've seen a ghost." Karnilla, "We are in Hell, my queen. Seeing a ghost is commonplace. I saw destiny, but only a potential one for now." We see Hela approaching, serving hot drinks, and asks, "Tell me more. And will you take your coffee poisoned this morning or without?" Karnilla responds with, "It's so sweet that we're trying to kill each other after all this time." Hela, "I'm only barely trying. I've grown quite fond of you, even outside the bedchamber. Stop changing the subject. What did you see?" Karnilla reveals what she saw. "Gazing into the true future, if I choose to, but if I do, we will share the knowledge. Knowledge that will alter the course of the universe, turn darkness to light, yet coat a world in darkness, if I choose it." Hela tells her to decide then one way or another. "I'm your wife, not your keeper." As fascinating as all this sounds, before Karnilla can fully decide to leave the future untouched, someone interrupts them at the gates. Looking down from her high balcony, she yells out, "Who's calling at this hour? Is that you, Tyr Odinson?" We see him riding a black horse with an axe in his hand as he yells back, "It was, once. I was a god of war in warlike days. I was he who sacrificed his hand to the Fenris wolf. I was hero of Asgard, once upon a time. But my era ended and I did not end with it. So now I am Asgard's villain, scheming against her." He explains that death for a god is merely a change of address. He tried giving himself to oblivion, but it only caused more mischief. Now, he's completely exhausted by the endless cycle of godhood. As he says, I am done with life and with death, Hela. But of all my living deaths in your realm, I at least had purpose. I was your hero once upon a time, your general. I would be again, and in return, I only ask for an end. Hela responds, poor noble warrior, yours is a sadness I know too well. Enter and become welcome. The armies of hell have a general again. As Hela walks away with Tyr, Karnilla watches them. Neither Hela nor Karnilla want to break their peace with Asgard. They've tasted defeat from the Golden Realm way too often. But Hela reiterates to Karnilla before leaving, I am not your keeper, not without knowing the odds in advance. Left alone, Karnilla succumbs to the temptation. In a moment of weakness, she reaches out and touches the glowing orb to look directly into the absolute future. What Karnilla sees in the orb is complete, unavoidable catastrophe. Loki's trap, an intricate dark woven by Loki using ultimate power of Thor himself, Thor dead and banished to Vidblane, used as bait to catch a soul, the sundering of the Bifrost, severing Midgard and Asgard completely, Midgardians forgetting the Norse gods ever existed, treating their legendary deeds as mere myths, while heroes like Iron Man, Captain America, and Ant-Man carry on without him. The vision makes one thing terrifying clear. The fate could not be altered. It could not be stopped, only taken advantage of. Armed now with this dark knowledge, Hela prepares her forces for departure. As she yells, Thor battles alone at the edge of the Black Bridge. At this moment, our final victory. Loki will strike, time grows short, Hela. Then you are now the sole queen of hell. Karnilla, for I will return to you as queen of the Midgard realm, or not at all. As the two queens share a final goodbye, Karnilla keeps her vision a secret, wishing Hela luck on her campaign to claim Midgard. Reflecting back at the moment as she says, who was privy to the secret thoughts of the dead? Not I. If I had been, perhaps I might have prevented the tragedy that follows. The portal opens up directly into hell, not the Norse realm of hell, but the fire and brimstone afterlife ruled by Mephisto, who is sitting comfortably on his throne with a drink in one hand and a TV remote on the other. As he greets Hela, welcome to my afterlife. As agreed, I've allowed you a way to reach the world of mortals without that pesky Sif spotting you. I assume you have the proper payment? Hela, I do. For when you fulfilled your bargain in its entirety as agreed, not before. Mephisto mockingly threatens to betray them and send their ship into a lake of fire. Tyr steps up, angered by the Lord of Lies. But Mephisto brushes him off as he says, spare me the hairy eyeball, Tyr. I'm Mephisto. If I didn't betray you, who'd ever trust me again? You're both just liking my attention on this doom's business. Frankly, I'm glued to my seat. As we see Mephisto distracted by Dr. Doom on the television, Hela and Tyr take the leave to continue their journey toward Earth. Hela's ship emerges at the absolute edge of the mortal realm, the far shore, at the very boundary of eternity. While it's rare for beings to return from beyond this point, someone has washed up on this shore. Knull, the god of the void, and former lord of the symbiotes. Although Eddie Brock had previously destroyed Knull and taken his throne, the King in Black's seat was left empty. The cosmic void called Knull back from the dead, though he remains extremely weak. Crawling in the cosmic mist, Knull senses someone approaching and mutters, Who's there? Knull looks up to see Hela hovering above him. Confused and weak, he tries to issue a threat, not realizing the magnitude of the force standing before him. Hela? Oh, you've made a very grave mistake. Whoever you are. Unbeknownst to Knull, Loki's dark spell was triggered at the exact moment Thor made his sacrifice on Midgard. Armored with the absolute knowledge of this prophecy, Hela towers over the weakened symbiote god with a sinister smile and is ready to strike. Hela channels ancient Norse magic, carving the glowing rune Dagaz into the air directly above Knull, as she says, fascinating. Instinctively, you know it has power, and yet nowhere in all the millennia of your memory is such magic to be found, so you can summon no defense. Knull screams out of pain as the magic overpowers him. But just as Hela seizes the golden opportunity to extract Knull's void energy, an unseen hitchhiker on her ship decides to make his move. Hela is forcibly draining the dark symbiote-like essence straight out of Knull's mouth to fuel her own transformation, when suddenly, mid-speech, a massive hammer comes flying through the air. Crusher, the hammer of Red Norvell, or as they call him, the fake Thor, has snuck aboard Hela's ship, seeking his own chance at redemption. Balder watches through the vision as Red Norvell, wielding Crusher and glowing with lightning, crashes down in front of Tyr and Hela. Red Norvell screaming, "Dead, I am. Dead, goddess, first murdered by a madman, then consigned to your bleak realm, all because once I stood as Asgard's hero, because once I was Thor." He turns his rage to Tyr, mocking him for serving Odin and taking up with the fake Midgard. Red Norvell, "The pretender who took my brother's place on Odin's whim, with a pretend Midgard, and where were you when I served your father?" Hela just laughs at the sudden chaos, enjoying the spectacle as the dead return to fight. Red Norvell keeps up his assault, declaring that he isn't worthy of the hammer, but of Crusher will get the job done fine. Hela, busy holding a choking hold on Knull with one hand and draining his essence with the other, asks Tyr if he needs help or the Helgard to deal with the intruder. Hela yells out, "Sadly, my general, I'm not quite done with the Void God. I must squeeze all the darkness I can from him. But do you need my help? Or the help of the Helgard? Can the god of war not subdue one rowdy mortal?" Tyr rubs his chin, acknowledges that while Norvell was always a wild card in Odin's plans, no substitute Thor can match a true son of Odin. He decides to take Norvell on himself. Tyr lunges at Norvell, knocking him onto the deck as he yells, "You made one strategic error, Norvell. We sail on a vacuum at the far edge of space. We hear each other through magic, not through the motion of air." He points out that while the Crusher hammer can fly to Norvell's hand, they are far too high above any planet's atmosphere for Norvell to summon a thunderstorm. Without atmospheric lightning, the hammer is just a hunk of metal, and not enough to stop a god of war. Tyr disarms Norvell, smashing his hammer away and closing in with his sword drawn, mocking the fake Thor's impending defeat, as he says, "An ill hour for Thor Redbeard. I wonder, did Odin copy the enhancements as well? Have you 60 seconds before you switch back to your secret identity, the rotting corpse?" Meanwhile, Hela drops Knull to the deck, keeping her foot firmly planted on his neck as she reveals to both Knull and Norvell that she knew Norvell was hiding on her ship the entire time. As she says, "He was much less than 60 seconds. You came to hell on a technicality, Red Norvell, but to hell you came. Do you think any of my subjects are beneath my notice? Do you think I would not see you climb aboard? From that moment you cluttered at the anchor chain, you were my guest on the vessel, and more." Hela reveals why she allowed Red Norvell aboard. He wasn't an unexpected guest, but rather her exact payment, she says, to Mephisto, as we see a flaming hand reach out and grab Norvell off the deck as he screams in terror, "No! No!" Mephisto please says, "The soul of a hero fresh from doom heroics, and the soul of a Thor nonetheless. This will be more than adequate, Hela. Come, Red Norvell, you must be tempered and quenched in fire and ice, for eons of agony undreamed of, before you can serve as my Thor, the Thor of Hell." Tyr watches in disgust, calling it a foul business, but Hela makes it crystal clear, warning Tyr to stay in line or suffer a similar fate. Now we see Hela establishing her Dark Kingdom, taking the living darkness from Knull and forging it with her own magic. She creates an army of symbiote-like warriors sitting on top of thrones surrounded by monsters and controlled hosts. As Karnilla continues her narration, she says, "And she did. She was the queen of nothing, and she played her role artistically. Cosmic Midgard was her canvas, living darkness her ink. She painted both subtly. A leader replaced here, a military infiltrated there, stoking the fires of resentment and nihilism across galaxies." We shift back to Karnilla holding a numb stone, the egg-shaped stone, gazing into the future and addressing Balder directly, as she says, "All this I have seen and more. Hela is not only dark scheming brewing. Why did I wish you to embark on a difficult and dangerous quest, Balder the Brave? Because that would keep you alive. Asgard will fall. If you are in Asgard, when it falls, you will die, and die the last death. But even knowing that, you'd still try to save it, wouldn't you? She smiles sinisterly as the vision closes, revealing that Baldur is actually trapped inside the glowing Norm stone in her hand, screaming to be let out. As she says, I know what it is to be trapped by fate, and now so do you. So stay a while, my first great love, and let golden Asgard tend to itself while it still can. With Baldur safely imprisoned away from the coming Ragnarok, Karnilla leaves Asgard to its doom. And just like that, Baldur's trapped. This concludes this issue. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you never miss another cosmic breakdown. Until next time.